Hi students, welcome to my class. Today I am going to explain science first chapter in class ninth, matter in our surroundings. As we look our surroundings, we see a large variety of things with different shapes, sizes and textures. Everything in this universe is made up of material or known as matter. The air we breathe, the food we eat, stones, clouds, stars, plants, and humans. Everything is matter. We also look as we look around that all the things mentioned above occupy some space and having some mass. In other words, they have both mass and volume. Then what are matters? Everything in the universe occupies some space and having mass are called matters. Since early times, human beings have been trying to understand their surroundings. Early Indian philosophers classified matter in the form of five basic elements that are known as Panch Tattva. That is earth, water, fire, air, and sky. According to them, everything, living or non living, was made up of these five basic elements. Ancient Greek philosophers had arrived at a similar classification of matter. These are the five primitive elements that are called a Panchtattva. One is space, air, fire, water, and earth. Observe this figure. This is a bench. Is it? It is made up of wood that comes from trees that you know. These trees are grown in soil in the presence of air. It requires heat, means that is sunlight, and it needs water for production, and therefore every matter directly or indirectly is made up of Panch Tattva. Understand? Next, what are particles? What are atoms? What are molecules? Okay, particles are smaller in size. Okay, how much they are small? They are small beyond our imagination. Okay, they are smaller things. Particles is nothing but they are smaller things. Then what are atoms? It is an indivisible particles. So atom consists three types of particles. One is proton, neutrons and electrons. Next, what are molecules? Molecules are group of atoms. We all know that matter is composed of some very small particles called atoms that sum up together to form a molecules, which is turn gives rise to a matter. Understand? In this chapter, we are discussing about the types of classification of matter based on their physical and chemical nature. Okay. First, we are discussing more about on physical nature of matter. So, first one is matter is made up of particles. In this figure, there are three beakers. One is first beaker contains only water. Second beakers contain water with salt, and third beaker contains water, salt, and along with one stirrer. Okay. First, we take a glass filled with water and mark the level of water in the glass. Add salt to the water in the glass. As soon as we add the salt, the level of water rises from the initial marked line. Okay, take a stirrer and keep on stirring the solution. After some time, salt gets dissolved and level comes back to its original marked line. So first, we need to take a glass filled with water and mark the level of water, and add salt to that water content glass. As soon as we add the salt, the level of water rises from the marked line. Keep on stirring the solution. After some time, salts get dissolved and level comes back to its original line. This experiment proves that matters are made up of tiny particles, due to which the particles of salt adjusted themselves into the space available between the tiny particles of water. Understand? The phenomenon of intermixing of particles of two different types of matter. Here we take two different types of matter. One is salt, that is solid. Another one is water, that is liquid. Okay, these two different types of matters. One is solid and another one is liquid. These two intermixing of particles of two different types of matters on their own is known as diffusion. Understand? What are diffusion? The phenomenon of intermixing of particles of two different types of matter on their own is known as diffusion. First physical nature of matter is made up of particles. Understand? Okay. Next physical nature of matter is how small are these particles of matter. Okay. So first, dissolve 2 to 3 crystals of potassium permanganate in 100 ml of water in a beaker. Instead of potassium permanganate, we use Dettol. Okay. So first, dissolve 2 to 3 crystals of potassium permanganate and its chemical formula is KMnO4. It is pink in color. Dissolved in 100 ml of water. Take 10 ml of this solution and dissolve in 100 ml of water. Take 10 ml of this solution and dissolve in 100 ml of water. Like this. Repeat this process 5 to 8 times. Okay, this shows that few crystals of potassium permanganate can color a large volume of water because there are millions of tiny particles in each crystals. Understand? The second property of matters is how much smalls of these particles that are present in matter. Understand? First, we need to dissolve 2 to 3 crystals of potassium permanganate in 100 ml of water. Take 10 ml of this solution and dissolve in 100 ml water. Next, take 10 ml of this and dissolve in 100 ml of water. Like this, repeated this process. So, this shows that few crystals of potassium permanganate can color a large volume of water. Understand? Second properties of matters. First one is matter is made up of particles and second one is how small are these particles of matter. Instead of potassium permanganate, we also use Dettol. The smell can be detected even on repeated dilution. Okay, we use potassium permanganate, we can detect their color. Instead of that potassium permanganate, we use Dettol means a smell can be detected. Okay, next we are discussing more about on the characteristics of particles of matter. First characteristics of particles of matter is the particles of matter have space between them. Second one is particles of matters are continuously moving. Next one is particles of matters attract each other. Okay. What you have learnt in this topic? First, we are discussing about matters. Matters means everything in the universe occupies some space and having some masses are called matters. Example for that: air we breathe, food we eat, stones, clouds, stars, plants and animals, etc. Next, we are discussing about on Panch Tattva, that is air, earth, fire, sky and water. Without this, there is no matter. Means everything, either it is living or non-living, that are made up of these five primitive elements. Next, we are discussing about particles, atoms and molecules. Particles that are two smaller things. Atoms that are indivisible particles. Molecules means that are group of atoms. Next, we are discussing about the physical nature of matters. First one is matters is made up of particles. So we demonstrate one experiments to prove that that is matter is made up of particles. In that we define the term diffusion, means the intermixing of particles of two different types of matter on their own is known as diffusion. Next, about particle size. So we demonstrate one experiment that dissolve 2 to 3 crystals of potassium permanganate in 100 ml of water. Okay. Next, we are discussing about the characteristics of particles of matter. Understand? Next, homework or do it yourself. First question is what is matter? Second one is demonstrate one experiment to show that matter is made up of particles. Understand? So next question is explain physical nature of matter. So here you need to explain two physical natures of matters. Understand? So next question, fourth one is which of the following are matter? Chair, air, love, smell, hate, almonds, thought, cold, cold drinks, smell of perfume. Thank you all.